Hello and welcome to my channel, Striving for Better. Today we're going to be going over Chess Analysis 8, which was a online chess.com rapid match that I played on my phone. Played between myself, username LittleRobBob41, and my opponent, chipcoderre. I don't know how to pronounce that, but I'm rated 1081 and he's rated 1045. I think that's a pretty fun game. He has a very non-standard style of play, which left me on edge and very stressed out the whole time. And the game came down and ended with 20 seconds left on the clock for me and 2 minutes left on the clock for him. And it was very excited to play. Didn't see a lot of good plans during the game, so it caused me to get into time trouble and just playing really blitzing out quick moves there at the end, which I was not comfortable with. But it turned out in my favor, and I think it was a pretty fun game to play. So a brief interlude. In the description, I'll talk more about why I'm in a different place, what's going on in my life a little bit, or maybe I'll make a separate video of it, but I'll talk a little bit to it. Also, I have a black eye, and it's healing, but it's because I was doing jiu-jitsu and I got headbutted, and I'm super glad to be back to my old gym doing jiu-jitsu, and it's been pretty fun being back, and also the change of scenery. So I'll talk more about that in a different video or in the description, but right now, let's get into the chess game. As always, we have d4. He plays e6, which I believe is the Horwitz defense. I continue to develop like it normally does. And here he makes 3 pawn moves in a row in the opening. Not challenging or fighting for the center at all. So I jump out with e4, trying to take as much space and center control as I can. He moves his queen. I continue developing. He moves his pawn. And I think it was for the first 12 moves, he only moves his queen and pawn, which was highly unusual and not that I expected. I jump out with my bishop, trying to develop with tempo and the queen. When he moves his pawn, it's just such a weird structure for him that I thought that if he did do that, it's just doesn't look like a normal chess position. So I just moved my bishop back again, and he just, as I continue to try to develop my minor pieces out and get into play, he hasn't moved a single minor piece of his, I think, until move 12, but he just continues to assault with his pawns until he's pretty much moved 7 out of his 8 pawns, and I've moved all my minor pieces and my queen off the back rank, ready to castle and connect my rooks. He moves his queen again. I castle, just trying to bring my rook to the center. His pawns are storming towards my kingside, so I figured castling queenside would not be castling into that danger over there with his already advanced pawns, was what I was thinking of. Again, he just continues to move his pawns, hasn't moved a single minor piece yet. Just pawn assault is really what's going on, and now we have this stone wall of his massive pawn chain connection from the H file all the way to the C file that have been advanced and just staring down. There's a lot of tension. I'm wondering who's going to make the first pawn break. How's this going to happen? I think from move 8 to 12, the computer was giving E5 for both players was the best move that it kept saying for probably 3 or 4 moves in a row. But I didn't play E5, I played D5. My thinking was he has more pieces defending E5. He has his D and F and queen. D pawn, F pawn, and his queen defending E5 versus he only has 2 pawns defending D5, and I have 2 pawns attacking and my knight, so that's why I played that. Here he moves his bishop, so I take this pawn, and if he wants to recapture, he's going to have to move his bishop again. He actually winds up moving this bishop 4 times in a row, those being the first 2 moves. So I play this move, G3. I wasn't really seeing any other good moves. The computer was suggesting knight to D4, but I just didn't see it, and I couldn't see any other move that would really help me. I figured that if I take away, start chipping at his pawns, maybe open up the H file, trade the rooks, that might possibly be what I want. I just really didn't see a good move. I know it's not the best, so I just played this. Not good mental strategy, but then he moves his bishop again. I defend it with my bishop, because if he takes that knight, he would have been forking both of my rooks. He takes, I recapture. So again, he just moved. If we look back, watch his moves. He moves his bishop 4 times in a row, which was very strange. Only pawn moves and queen moves in the beginning, then moving his 1 minor piece 4 times in a row. I was not prepared to deal with this because this is just something so foreign that I've never seen before. And then he starts developing his knight. I played g4 to try to lock down the queen side. I didn't want his pawns to advance anymore, and I figured if I could like stop them and then fight on the king side, like close it off on the king side, and then be able to fight in the center and on the queen side where my king is castled too. I just thought that would be better. I have my rook on that semi-open d-file. That was the plan that I was going for. And then he castles queen side. So now the play really shifts away from the king side, whereas he had advanced his pawns and moved over to the queen side, and it becomes a really locked down position as we see here. So I move my bishop back because it was pretty much dead on f3 and didn't see anything. Now I'm thinking about moving my c-pawn up, but he stops me from doing this. Now that a bishop on e2, my light square bishop, is pretty much shut down and it sees nothing, and it's a very sad bishop right now. It literally doesn't control any of my squares except for the two in front of it. So I push my h-pawn, just locking, like again solidifying and really locking down that the king side. He moves his knight. He's trying to reroute it to f7. I move my knight, thinking about trying to get it to b6, which I do here. So he reroutes it. I move my queen, and then he jumps into e5. He could have jumped into e5 with his other knight. Again, I can't really challenge it with a pawn so easily, and it's defended twice, and I mean my light squared bishop is preventing it from moving forward in any position. As you can see, the light squared bishop covers it, but it's going to be an annoying piece, or could possibly be an annoying piece in the future. But I wanted to trade off his other knight so that it takes away a defender from the king, and I wasn't really seeing a lot of other moves or a lot of other things to work for. So I was like, all right, well, let's start taking away defenders from his king and start trying to get my bishops and my rooks and to line up with my queen in attacks. That's what I start to try to do, and it eventually works. So I bring my queen in. He's moving his rook, his pieces around, trying to defend everything. Now here I really sat and I thought, and I wasted probably about 2 minutes because I couldn't see a move that was just not outright losing. And so I wound up playing the best move in the position, which is rook to d5, and it just felt so unnatural and wrong, but it was the only thing that I could see that wasn't just going to outright lose the position for me. So it does trap it in there, but the computer thought it was the best move, and it was the only move that I could see that wasn't just outright terrible. He moves his rook, bringing it to the 7th rank. Another defender, defending that b7 pawn if I ever start stacking up attacks against it. I move my bishop, trying to bring it into the attack. He moves his rook over, probably trying to, I assumed he was trying to move it to c6 eventually to kick my queen out of there, but I move my bishop, just bringing it into the attack. Right now I can't take his rook, obviously, because his other queen and rook defends it. But I'm just trying to bring more pieces over. Here, I blunder and completely miss. Well, he blunders, and I blunder back because I missed this mate in 1. If I were to move my queen to d8, that's checkmate. And I just completely didn't see this. And what I did instead is I just moved it back out of danger. Again, I should look checks, captures, attacks is what I always tell myself, but sometimes when I'm playing, I was also down on time a lot here. I believe I have it written down, but I was down probably about 2 minutes. I think he had around 4 minutes left, and I had about 2 in this position. Eventually, we ended the game where he had 2 minutes left, and I had 20 seconds left, and I still was able to win. I'm very proud of that because I was panicking and just making really quick moves. So he moves his queen, getting closer to the action. I didn't really understand, this position because it's still kind of just behind his pawns, doesn't really see anything. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna bring my rook over. And then he just moves his queen again, which he could have just moved it there in the first place. So I really didn't understand that. And now I move my queen over again, lining it up, seeing if I have any to bring it to what I think would be a better square. Try to maybe move another rook. Elevate a rook up onto the 3rd rank and then bringing it over. Possibly, obviously, I can't do that now because the knight's there. And then after his move, I just decide I'm down on time, I'm going to like run out of time here and just lose the game, so I need to create attacking chances. So I go for b4. It's not the best move. I think right now the computer switches and evaluates that black is better in this position, but I like the fact that it's just opening up the position more. He moves his rook again. It was a very close position with a lot of pieces in a small area, so just these little positional moves, trying to gain a little bit of advantage. And I see he moves his queen away to attack my e4 pawn, but I can just defend it with f3, and now that gives me time to, he moves his bishop here. I don't really understand it because it stops his queen from getting back into it. And his rook on see this move, I don't think it's very good because he stops his queen from getting back across the 7th rank, and it stops his rook from getting to the 7th rank too. So now I can, after trying to blow up the center a little bit more, and he tries to now sees that, oh no, I need to get my queen in the game, I can line up my rook and my queen, and I can, now I'm really targeting that b7 pawn that used to have, you know, both rooks and the queen defending, and now it doesn't have any of them. And he moves his king here, and this was his fatal mistake because very quickly I end the game here because I can take the pawn with check. He tries to block. Again, I only had about 30 seconds left here, so I think he was just trying to play fast to get me to lose on time. But this is a crucial mistake because it's literally just free chow because it's attacked twice and only defended by the king, so the king can't recapture with my bishop and my queen. He moves his king away, and I give him a check. I'm going to win the queen, but he moves his bishop here and then resigns because it's mate in 1. All I have to do is capture with my rook, and then that's checkmate. So it was a very exciting position for me, especially the last like 2 minutes of gameplay, because I was down so much on time and I was making frantic moves. And I think he just tried to play a little bit too fast because he saw that I was down on time to try to beat me on time, and just made a couple mistakes there at the end that allowed me to finish it pretty quickly. But overall, it was a really fun game to play. It was felt like a chess puzzle every single move because I couldn't see any good plans. So I just decided, you know, if in absence of a good plan, I'm just going to play a plan in general, which was trying to open it up and attack on the queen side to attack his castle, to attack him because he was castle queen side. But generally a pretty fun game and exciting win, to be sure. Alright, and welcome back to my room. I'd like to thank you for watching another one of my videos. I'm going to try to do something about the background in the future. I know it's kind of boring for these intros and outros, just a blank, you know, concrete wall in my bed. I threw my guitar up there because just literally to break up the background a little bit. I'm debating on whether to keep the background being behind me in my bed. I'm sitting at my desk right now, or to switch it up and maybe record from the camera over on that wall with my desk and like my cabinet in the background. Maybe a little bit easier to look at. Still playing around with it. I don't really know, but we'll play around the next couple of videos and see what looks better and what, depending on the feedback I get, you know, from my friends and family that watch these videos, or anyone that wants to comment, like I'll make a decision from there. And I do apologize, this video being super long. Again, I recorded the analysis in 2 takes. One of them I think was, the first one was 2 minutes and the last one was 8 minutes, and it's kind of rambly, just like these intros and outros. But I'm just getting back into it, and I'm experimenting a little bit. I feel like I was pretty concise and did a pretty good job, but it was a lot of work editing to be that concise and like all the breaths and stuff. So now I'm going to try a little bit more rambly, long form videos, I guess, for at least 1 or 2. See how I like that, get some good feedback. I like to experiment, you know, and then just make the video how, like, without so much feedback, without outside input, and then just put it up there and then get the feedback from there. So it's like objective, like they can see the whole thing in its sense versus a little piece like, hey, do you like this or that, when they can't really see in the whole context of the video. So I think just making the whole video and putting it out there and then getting the feedback from there will be the most effective way to do it. So again, thank you for watching, and if you stuck around this long, God bless you, because I wouldn't even want to listen to me talk for however long this video is, but I really appreciate it. So again, thank you for watching my channel. Sorry this video was so long.